Indonesia disebut sebagai tanah surga, namun ternyata tidak lepas dari ancaman krisis pangan global. Dengan tensi geopolitik yang tidak menentu, ekonomi dunia yang terus melambat, Indonesia mungkin saja lolos dari ancaman krisis finansial, namun tidak dengan krisis ketahanan pangan. Dan bagi negara yang menyebut sebagai negara agraris, ini tentunya ironis. Lalu bagaimana Indonesia menghadapi tantangan ini? Kami berdialog secara eksklusif di Prime Word CNBC Indonesia bersama dengan Mr. Rajendra Aryal, FAO Representative and Country Director to Indonesia and Timor Leste. Bersama saya, Safrina Nasution.
Good morning. Thank you very much for the invitation.
Dan untuk membahasnya lebih lanjut telah bergabung bersama kami FAO, Food Agriculture and Organization Representative or Country Director to Indonesia and Timor Leste, Mr. Rajendra Aryal. Mr. Rajendra, a pleasure to have you here with CNBC Indonesia. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you very much, Safrina. It's really nice to see you today.
Thank you. Thank you for carving out some time with CNBC Indonesia.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
So I did also want to ask you about, a reflective question towards what happened in 2022. So we see throughout that year, last year, the world is still in the grips of the worst food crisis in modern history because of the tension, the geopolitical tension between Russia and Ukraine, and global agricultural system are also grappling with the effects of extreme weather and also post-pandemic recovery. Mr. Rajendra, how do you see this condition will persist in 2023?
Well, if you see, actually, if probably you remember the financial crisis of 2007, 2008, and the worst food security crisis was in 2011. When the food prices, the FAO food price index was really, deteriorated with almost 16%. In 2022, after 11 years, the food price index saw the deterioration even almost 18% higher than what it achieved, what it reached in 2011. So 2022 March was the peak, but it was not only because of the crisis. See, we had the pandemic starting from 2020,
and then the tension.
Then, as you rightly said, the impacts of climate change. Climate change. Whenever there's climate change, it's always the farmers and fishers, right? And then that was further aggravated by the conflict in Ukraine.
Yes.
So if you see the food price index of January 2023, it has improved.
Even because still in February.
In February. Okay, end of January, if you look at the food price index, it has shown a betterment. It has shown positive signals. However, having said that, we cannot confidently say that this is going to continue because there are several other factors. You see, US dollar price, US dollar is strengthening. Countries are facing devaluation of the currency. Inflation is rising across the globe. We talk about 5 F's crisis, 5F crisis: food, feed, fuel, finance, and fertilizer. And they are very well interconnected with each other. So with this, we cannot confidently say that 2023 would be great. No, there are a lot of uncertainties in terms of food price. And if I talk about the global food insecurity level, there are almost 3 billion people who are moderately to severely food insecure. Wow. And if you look at Asia Pacific region, the figure is as high as 1 billion. So this is where we are.
So there will be a lot of challenge.
There will be a lot of challenges.
2023.
Absolutely. There will be a lot of challenges. Also with this El Nino effect, like say, if we talk about this part of the world, we are experiencing drought in some of the areas, but also with the impact of climate change, we have torrential rain, we have floods, you see landslides. And in addition, you see what's happening in Turkey now. Turkey and Syria, the earthquake. That is affecting livelihoods of millions of people.
Yes.
So it's very uncertain.
And we cannot really expect it, what happened in Turkey and Syria.
Absolutely. Earthquake you cannot predict.
Yeah, it's just the first quarter of 2023.
So on the advancement at different fronts, the technological advancement, production. I think we can learn a lot from China. FAO and China, we are working very closely. But there are also other examples. Let's say ASEAN. I think ASEAN recently made a declaration that there will be free trade flow, ensuring food supply among ASEAN nations. Because remember, there are a lot of countries that are dependent on import of food items. And there are big countries in this region where, say Thailand or Indonesia or Vietnam, exporting rice. In Malaysia and Indonesia exporting cooking oil. So if that trade flow continues with no restrictions, I think there are positive signs. However,
for this year.
However, a lot of countries are under very strong financial constraint. So there should be other policies as well. For instance, like, debt relief or improving investment in production, engaging youth and women, targeting investment. So these are the things. And the positive sign is that some of the countries are already doing it. Indonesia, for an example. Indonesia did very well during the pandemic. Agriculture was the sector that showed positive growth together with IT. So there are good practices already. So I always look optimistically, I look through the positive lens. There are definitely challenges, but there are some good things already happening and there are good practices which can be.
You just got to do what's good.
Exactly. But it doesn't mean that we just should keep quiet. The countries need to look at their policies, their fiscal policies, their investment policies.
So do you see what should we do for a good note is for more from the governance?
Across the board. Nowadays, what we are talking about is we call it agri-food system transformation.
Okay.
You cannot just look at food security through the lens of production. Increasing production doesn't automatically provide food to the people.
True.
And what I call from agri-food system is like you start from production, storage, processing, transportation, packaging, distribution, consumption, and even food loss and waste. So we have to work across the whole chain.
Collectively.
Holistically.
Holistically as well.
Holistically.
That's very nice. Very
so
insightful.
The countries need to really look how best we do this agri-food system transformation. And this is exactly the message FAO is giving to different countries. Because pandemic followed by this conflict, coupled with the impacts of climate change. And this is the real time.
But the food estates, agricultural efforts are put outside in other islands such as Borneo, Kalimantan, Mr. Rajendra. Do you think those food estates placed in other islands of Indonesia outside Java can be compensating the industrial growth that happened in Java Island?
Actually, we are working with Bapenas on that. And this is, again, I come back to this agri-food system transformation modeling. That's the work that actually we are doing with Indonesia.